Niners thus far, and we are always honored to have the voice of the Niners on the home of the Niners joining us each and every week, fresh off a wonderful victory in Pittsburgh. Good morning, Mr. Papa. How are you?
I believe I lost 2 out of 3 in the preseason.
Yeah, we don't count.
We don't count that.
That don't count. No. And the game Sunday, I believe it was 20-0, 49ers.
Yes.
With a minute to go in the first half, and I forgot the exact total. What the Niners had 282 yards or something, and Pittsburgh had 1.
Yeah.
And it was like, what is going on? Because going into that game, I don't think we chatted last week before the opener. Did we?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we did.
You're a busy man.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure they were. I don't know if I'm on the air or off the air.
I thought we were special to you, Greg.
No, I know.
I thought it meant something.
Yeah, you are. As I told you last week, Jason and Dick, I just, Pittsburgh looked so good in the preseason. They played their guys. They tackled to the ground in training camp. Who does that? They had this Friday Night Lights thing at Latrobe High School where they had their training camp, and they actually have like a scrimmage and they tackle. So it's really unusual. That's Mike Tomlin. And, 16 years previously in openers, he's 17th year now. He's 10-5-1 in openers. And last year they went into Cincinnati and won. The year before they went into Buffalo and won. So they're usually good to start the year. But these Niners, I told you that I went to practice just, right after Bosa signed that Wednesday, and just watching the 5 eligibles and just how fast they are. And it's, it's Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Aiyuk. And they're all pros with the exception of Brandon. But he's on the precipice of being one. And his route running ability is just special. So I don't know how they cover him. And then you got, but a guy that I'm calling, we're looking for a nickname for him. Let me know if you like it. Big Brain Brock. He is, obviously he's a sneaky good athlete. The play where he spun away from Minka Fitzpatrick and hit Deebo over the middle. The play where he stepped up in the pocket, hit Aiyuk on 3rd down, got the personal foul. The 17-yard run he had when he drew Cole Holcomb, the linebacker, for a 1st down. He's a great athlete, but what makes him special is decision-making process. He's just so quick. He's decisive. He's precise with the football. So when you have a quarterback that can put it all together and have all these weapons, and then you have the mad scientist that is Kyle Shanahan that moves everybody around. They're positionless. They all play different positions. I was talking to Christian McCaffrey yesterday at length, and he doesn't even know how many positions he plays. I think he learns them all, including how to play left guard. Not that he's ever going to play it, but he wants to know what Aaron Banks is doing on every play. It's just insane. So really excited about the opener because you let them play in the preseason. It's hard to get precise early in the year. They had a few mistakes here and there, too many penalties and a few situations. But overall, man, what a way to come out of the gates.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what stunned me, Greg. It's like not that they won. I thought that was very possible. Just how sharp they were and just dominant, especially early as we're talking to Greg Papa here on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. As far as that goes, you brought up Aiyuk. I mean, has he become the offense is so diverse, but do you think he is the number 1 receiver now on this team?
Well, there's progressions in each passing play. A guy's a primary, a secondary, the backside. You go through your reads, but it's like when the Warriors had Kevin Durant. Who was the option? It was whoever was most open shot the ball. Really, I mean, honestly, and that's where Brock, going through his progressions quickly, he's going to find the open guy. If you're not open. So you could be the primary on the play, but the coverage could roll your way. You don't beat your man or zone and you haven't gotten there to settle down yet, whatever it is. If you're not ready to get it, he's moving on to the next. And really what it also is, how do you tilt your coverage? How Deebo is hard to double because where does he line up? When he lines up in the backfield, you can't double him back there. So how are you going to double him? When he's Brandon Aiyuk is the X wide receiver most of the time, the split end away from the tight end side. But Deebo's the Z, so he's the one that moves in motion a lot. So you can't double guys. How do you get to him? You run with him, you get caught behind the line. So it's tough. People would say, oh, take Deebo away, put your best corner on Deebo. That's hard to do because you can't get to him. They hide him. Ayuk's the one guy. But Brandon is going in motion more. They do have him be the move guy sometimes. In those situations, he's hard to get to. So I think at some point, I remember playing the Rams last year. They had Jalen Ramsey double Aiyuk because, like I said, you can't get to Deebo. And then how do you get to McCaffrey? You can in and out him when he's in the slot, but he's so hard to get to. So Aiyuk is just a special. He's always been. When he first got to training camp, and it was that year, the 2020 pandemic year when, you couldn't even get within 60 yards of the guy. But just watching him right away, he's a superior route runner than Deebo was. When Deebo came in, I mean, to me, it's like the old Raiders when they had Jerry Rice and Tim Brown. Jerry Rice is a precise route runner. That's Brandon Aiyuk, and he's getting better and better and better. He's not Jerry Rice, but I'm just saying it's all choreographed dance steps. Where Deebo is more touchdown Timmy Brown. He's more of a broken field runner. He just kind of feels you and slides off. All that being said, just watching Deebo, and it struck me in practice yesterday, and it struck me really throughout the entire August and into the season. He is running routes exceptionally well because he's so physically fit. He's so light and lean, and his movement skill, and he's whipping off routes. So Deebo's running routes better than he ever has. But Brandon Aiyuk has always been a good route runner. He got a little lazy there coming back his second year, and Wes Welker and Kyle really challenged him. But now I think you're going to see, Jason, teams start to roll coverages his way simply because he's easier to get to. You can double him where it's hard to double Deebo and McCaffrey.
Greg Papa joining us. Speaking of Brandon Aiyuk, now look, Greg, if there's a church of Greg Papa on Sundays, I'd go. And I like to treat the media the same way I like to treat the football team. You have the game, you ask questions afterwards. It's game one, all right, and Tim surprises you in the booth
with the Aiyuk,
and you picked it up. And it was great. Now, I noticed, because we were breaking down the call post game, just like the game, the second Aiyuk, seemed like you threw Tim a curveball Is that a chemistry issue? Is that something you guys worked on in the offseason? Let us know what happened.
That is me going Oscar, and flipping the play. Which, by the way, this week, the Oscars where they flip the play, watch how many times Big Brain Brock will point to his helmet, and if the audio on TV picks it up, I'll shut up for a minute on Sactown Sports so you can hear me. They're going to Oscar a lot either to run at Aaron Donald or Oscar a lot to run away from Aaron Donald, and they'll all know which one they're doing. But anyway, I just get bored with things, so I'm the one that started the Aiyuk, the Aiyuk, and I went back to the radio show, and I remember when, in that draft class was CeeDee Lamb, if you remember, before they even drafted Aiyuk. And I remember I actually did some Oklahoma games on radio earlier in his career there, and the line was CD with a TD.
Gotcha.
So I had that line ready, and then I love Jerry Jeudy coming out of Alabama. So you would love this, Dave, being an old soul. I was going to give it Jeudy. So then when they got Aiyuk, I didn't have anything, but then it just struck me, Aiyuk is on fire. We don't need no water. So I wasn't going to do it in a game ever.
Right.
I didn't think people know what it was, and the line is not PG. So, but remember the game against the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football during the pandemic here, when he high hurdled, he skeets Nehemiah, the safety Marcus Epps against the Eagles. He just jumped right over his head and went down the sideline, and I lost my mind. So I just did it. I just did it on my own. I mean,
you audible
the call. So now Tim's on it. So I like to vary things up a little bit. I like to Oscar the play call.
Sure.
So I wasn't even sure. I think we used to make eye contact on that. I don't want to do it after every Aiyuk touchdown.
Sure.
I want to do it after some. But now we got like Sunday. Who were the two best guys on the stat sheet? They were Aiyuk and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And now I have the obvious
touchdown
call for CMC. So I don't want to, I got to come up with something for Deebo or Tim and I. But yeah, we were definitely off.
Okay.
But you know what? On the plane ride down to LA, Tim and I will come together on that. It's got to be like, Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Where we just kind of look at each other and we know we don't have to give any weird histrionics or anything to figure it out. But it's just me inside of me. I like to be different. I don't want to give you the same call every time. I never had a call. I never had a home run call.
Yeah.
I never in the touchdown call is obvious because it's such a big play in football. The Niners are good. Maybe they'll give me 5 or 6 a week. But, when I was doing the Raider games that one year when Art Shell was the coach, I used to say it was like when I first got married in sex. When I had Rich Gannon and Tim Brown, I'd get, touchdown Raiders 5 or 6 times a Sunday. With Art Shell, I'll be lucky if I got it once a month. So it was,
wow.
I really had to kind of go there. So now, I just so we vary. Do you like the fact that we have one for Aiyuk and one for McCaffrey? What do we do for Kittle?
Well,
what do we do for Kittle?
That's the thing. Well, first off, I did not expect to hear what we just heard.
No, and I think it's the greatest promo we're ever going to have.
I think so.
Touchdown, Greg Papa.
I think you guys have so much fun with this.
Right? Can we all relate on that one?
Yes. I was going to ask you,
the honeymoon ends.
what is your read on what's the favorite call that Tim likes to jump in on? Like, I mean, it sure looks like
a sack.
Okay.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, I think
there's
so.
a lot.
You hear the Drake Jackson sack? Do you guys have that ready?
So
the first Drake Jackson sack. Oh, he jumps. And the play happens. I try to be as quick as possible.
Sure.
But I can't get the words out. The moment there's a little bit of a time there. But Tim will see it. We all see it at the same time, and then he'll just give you the guttural. Oh! Right before it happens, before I could actually get the words out that he was sacked. So. Being an old defensive lineman,
right?
There's no question he loves sacks, right? That's the thing.
Well, and I'm gonna level with you because this is a trust tree. This is the safe space. So Tim has really grown on me, and I would never put you in a position where I'm talking about your partner here other than complimentary. Tim has grown on me. Greg, you know this. I think you guys are superheroes. I talk about this all the time. Play-by-play folks. Jason sitting across from me. It's a tool I never had in my bag, and I always wished I could. And I worship and study the best of the best, like you. And one of my biggest pet peeves is I'll be playing a clip from I don't know, the Bengals score a touchdown, and play-by-play guys like 30, 20, 10, and you got the X offense.
Yeah, Dave Lapham.
Right.
And the Syracuse guy.
You got a guy in the background like, and I'm like, what is this called? Let the guy do the call and then let him lay it out and then come in with your thing and all that. But I don't know why. I might be biased. Maybe it's because I'm a Niner fan. Maybe it's because but it's different with Tim. I don't mind that you guys just have such good chemistry. It doesn't piss me off like everywhere else.
Well, he has so much to say.
Yeah.
Honestly, he gets on me because he says that I do the color commentary during the game, so they don't need him. But that's so not true.
Sure,
Tim. I think he's the best analyst in television. Period. Not just radio. Tim was on Fox TV for a long, long time, and Bob Sargent lured him away to be around his son playing high school football in the South Bay. He'd come home, and he loves it. And Tim is around the team. He's an honorary member of the coaching staff. He's at every single meeting and every practice. I go to as many as I physically can be at. I go to quite a few, but I can't make them all. I'm on the radio a lot of times when they're practicing. Sure. But he's there every six, so he knows everything that's going to happen, and he sees it all, and he's calling plays out. So actually, I've told him so many times he could do play-by-play. There's no doubt. And the way he speaks and his voice, and he's a great speaker. He could easily do, I know, television play-by-play, and I think he could learn radio play-by-play in a couple of games. So it wouldn't be an issue at all. But it's a different broadcast. And I did the Raider games. I spoke 95% of the time. With Tim, we, especially during August games and when we're on TV, I told him, the television August preseason game, it's you. I'm gonna be a minimalist. I'm gonna be Ray Scott and Pat Summerall.
Sure.
And you take over. Once we start during the season, though, and it's radio, Give me the damn mic back, bro.
Right.
No, but it's he has so much to say, and I don't like when we step on each other. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I think we do it here and there because we do kind of talk right up to the line a lot. But he's the best. Nobody sees interior line play like he does. It's easy to see the wide receiver routes and the quarterback, but he sees a twist up front, and I'll see some of it. But then my eyes have got to go if the quarterback's rolling out to the right. I kind of lose it a little bit, and downfield stuff, and he sees it all. He sees the whole grid. So and then he articulates it fast and clearly, and great description and on everything, and great energy. So I honestly, and I think Greg Olson has gotten really good on Fox TV. Collinsworth obviously has been the standard for a long time, but I think Tim Ryan's the very best analyst there is on radio or television in football.
Greg, the Niners have owned the Rams. There's no doubt about that. They've had great success. The Rams had a great win last week. Really surprising performance what they did in Seattle, especially without Cooper Kupp. How do the Niners keep that going this week? Sure looks like things are in favor of the Niners in this matchup.
Just do their thing, Jace. I mean, the Rams shocked us, and I thought Seattle really improved their roster a lot, and I thought Philadelphia. And they're 2-0. I know people are critiquing they're 2-0. They're still 2-0. And the Niners, to me, are the two best teams in the NFC. And then where's everybody else? Dallas, Detroit. I thought Seattle was going to be right there. So when the Rams went in there and the Rams historically just play Seattle well. It's hard. It's a weird thing. They just, and then the 49ers own the Rams. So then Seattle's been hard on the 49ers until last year when we beat them 3 times. So, Cooper Kupp won't play in this game, but the story of their season is Matthew Stafford. He is completely over whatever he had. And last year, they wouldn't tell us exactly what he had. They just said he had tendonitis in his right elbow and he had therapeutic injections for 10 to 12 weeks in the off season. And I could see it from a little bit of training camp video we had last year. And then that very first Buffalo game when they got unfurled their banner and were Super Bowl champions in the Thursday night opener, he could not rip the ball. He was guiding the ball. He did not have the elbow. And then later on, he had the cervical spine and he shut it down. So I don't know what he had. They didn't say. I don't know if he had a UCL like Brock and didn't get surgery or what he did this offseason, if he had the internal brace they don't say. But he is back to being Matthew Stafford. He throws the ball. Aaron Rodgers throws the ball from every different angle and velocity, and he's just a natural elite thrower of the football. When it's got to go from point A to point B, Matthew Stafford can get it there. I have tremendous respect for him. But the one thing that does bother him, and he's never beaten the 49ers as a Ram in the regular season. He beat them in the NFC Championship game, obviously. You got to make him a Chuck and Ducker, where and all of a sudden that elite feathery ball, all of a sudden he's just chucking it because it's a live grenade. And I got Nick Bosa, the pin's pulled, and Bosa's going to kill me. And he does not like to get hit. You can see him pull off throws, and who likes to get hit? Especially when Matthews now with Aaron getting hurt. He's the oldest quarterback in the NFL with Brady retiring. So he just does not like to get hit. So I think that's the secret to the game. Whenever the Rams are good, they have a good offensive line. I don't know how good this offensive line is, honestly. And then we didn't even talk about the gold rush and bringing Javon Hargrave in with Armstead and Bosa and Cleve Ferrell and obviously what Drake Jackson did in the opener. So Matthew Stafford's back, but I think the key to the game is putting him on his back in this game. He does not like to get hit. We've seen that.
And then I want to, finish by asking you about Brock Purdy. It's wonderful to watch his continued development, the story that I almost think is just undertold. I mean, we are still dealing with the last pick in the draft, who is now quarterbacking a presumptive Super Bowl favorite and has yet to lose a game he's finished, including two playoff wins. Like this is still shaping up to be one of the greatest stories literally in sports history. And you look at the numbers, and he had a very, and I say this with respect, a very what we call now a Brockish, if you will, stat line, 220 and very efficient, best QBR in the league, couple of touchdowns, no picks. And you go back last year, I know he had the real breakout against the Seahawks, the 332, 3 touchdowns, but he seems to be comfortable in the 200s. Greg, yesterday when Jason and I were talking about this, I was going through Tom Brady's first year, not to compare the two, but just going through it. And the numbers were actually pretty similar. It made me want to ask you this. Is Brock a guy that you think eventually can be that 350, 400? Can he have a Tua Tagovailoa type day like Tua did last weekend? How much of it is Brock's capabilities, and maybe how much is it is Kyle still holding the reins back a little bit on him at all?
Well, I mean, I know Tua put up some big numbers, but Brock Purdy is a much better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just in every regard. They run an RPO-based system to protect him, to make the read simple. And when he came in against the 49ers, they were building him up as a MVP candidate. And Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw got good depth on his RPO game, and he was shut down and he was exposed. When you got a guy like Tyreek the Streak running 5 yards behind everybody, you can get him the ball. Tua's a good player, but Brock, he doesn't see the field the way Brock Purdy does. So it's a little surprising to me, Dave, you're getting so heavy into the stats here with Brock. This is a run-based offense. Their goal is to run the ball 30 times every game. Kyle is 32-2 as the Niners head coach when they run it 30 or more times. And they've had some games where they've run it 40. And against these Rams, the goal is not 30, it's 40. That's the way to beat them. They ran it 34 times on Sunday in Pittsburgh, including all, the two Sam Darnold kneel downs and Brock, scrambling a few times. And Brock threw it 29 times. So to get, 220 yards out of 29 throws and 19 completions is pretty good. So Brock's going to run the play, and that's why he's big brain Brock. He's going to run it, and he has full autonomy at the line to Oscar the call, which means he flips the run from one side to another. He can it and go to a different run or a different play and a pass. He runs the offense perfectly. If you're looking to get him in your fantasy league, I'd take him as a backup quarterback maybe, but he's not going to throw the ball as much as these other quarterbacks if it goes well. Now, if the one thing would be, Brock didn't play against Kansas City. Jimmy did. If you get into a game like Kansas City and Mahomes is scoring every damn time and you got to match him, now you can still score by running. You don't have to abandon the run. But if you want to get into a shootout, Brock Purdy's very capable of shooting with you. He's got the weapons. He's got, deep down the field. He can throw the ball down the field. He looks down the field to throw the ball. He's got all the intermediate stuff. So if you want to judge him by his rating is 111.3, Brock Purdy is the highest quarterback rating of any rookie in history last year. So he's big brain Brock. He's incredibly efficient. He does what's called for on the play. And the bottom line, he scores. They scored 30 points the other day on Sunday.
Yep.
And they scored first 4 drives. They went touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal. That's what the elite quarterbacks, that's what Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Drew Brees did. To me, it's like bowling. You don't want any open frames. You don't want to punt. A touchdown is a strike and a spare is a field goal, and that's what these guys do. The scoreboard moves all the time. When Brock took over as quarterback, the 49ers averaged 33.2 points per game last year. And then, got 30 on opening day against Pittsburgh. Could have had more. They backed off. They ran the clock out. So I would not evaluate Brock, Dave, based on how many yards he throws for. So
okay. Well, I'll tell you as we close out. I mean, you've thought about this. There is a perfect nickname for Brock Purdy. It's just it's not FCC usable.
Well, we talked around that one, and Jason's going to get mad at me. At my age, I'd rather be known as Big Brain Brock or Greg than the other one because it doesn't even work. Yeah. So it's not that big a deal.
No, it's fine.
So you don't like my nickname, Big Brain Brock? Big Brain Brad from Pulp Fiction?
I love it.
Are you getting me?
I love
it.
I love it. I say I want to see you test drive it, honestly. And
I've said it on my radio show. I don't know. Should I use it during a game? Maybe I will.
You're the one who said, "Look, you have taught us a lesson today." Well, you said you want to change it up. You want to be different. And I have yet to hear a big brain Brock on the broadcast.
I think I'll drop it when he goes Oscar. They run right at Aaron Donald, and McCaffrey breaks an 80-yard touchdown run, you might hear a big bang.
Yes, yeah, look at the big brain on Brock down there going Oscar. Yeah.
Because the other nickname, I mean, we talk about it on the radio show, but we have to talk around it all the time and do it in code. This one is, and I don't know about the other, but I know that guy's got a big brain.
I just look. It's an homage. I call him Big Sock Brock, and everyone knows. That's where we go.
Big gloves. Big
have a great call in LA. Let's go 2-0. We'll talk to you on Friday. Aiyuk is on fire. That's perfect chemistry right there. See you, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
All right, bye. That's great.
Wow.
Top 5.
There was gems all over that.
That's top 5 poppiness. That was
You have 4 better?
You know what? You're right. I was trying to not get into the hyperbole, but as of right now, I can't think of any.
I mean, the one line
marriage anecdotes, Brock Purdy nicknames, breaking down the Aiyuk call, him gently chiding me for getting into the stats of Brock.
Yeah, slamming Tua.
Just absolutely, baby.
Uncalled for slander on Tua.
I didn't see that either, and I wasn't going to argue with him. I was like, yeah. If Greg says something, I could disagree with him. Be like, nope, totally, absolutely.
Because you remember that play when Aiyuk jumped over, like Nehemiah the Sunday night. I mean, Greg's recall is ridiculous.
He'll do that all the time, too, where he'll be like, you guys probably remember, too, back in 26 when Skates McGillicuddy, and like,
that's 74 game 3 of the
you just got to roll with it. I mean, remember when I used Cincinnati as like a random example. You're like, oh, Syracuse.
That's Dave.
Dave McGillicuddy.
Yeah.
What? Okay. You know what? I don't know where he gets the energy. I don't know where he gets the drive. But it might be at our friends at Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. It's Jeep Adventure Days going on right now. Save up to $10,500 off MSRP when you lease the all-new 2024 Jeep Wrangler 4xe. Greg is an absolute character. You can lease a Sport S for only $459 a month for 36 months. Save money on gas and get the family where they need to go, all right? 2024 Wrangler 4xe. You heard right, the brand new model, and that's not it. If you've been looking at the Jeep Gladiator, you can save up to $12,000 off MSRP on the brand new 2023s. Take advantage of this savings before it's gone at Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. See their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period. We will take a break. When we come back, 4-down territory right here at Sactown Sports, your home of the Niners.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on